Welcome back to Delicious and Nutritious, where we cook the healthiest food with the best quality ingredients to make it taste the absolute best. And today we're gonna make one of my favorite things, which is going to be the healthy version of granola. I hope you guys are ready to jump in. If you want the recipe, it's gonna be in the pinned comments below. And the ingredients that we do use, I will also put them, if you can buy them on Amazon, in the pinned comments below for you guys to have easy access. So definitely make sure to check out those pinned comments. And the recipe is gonna be from Cookie and Kate. This is gonna be healthy granola, but we're gonna take it further than Kate takes it with using the right ingredients, because everything in life for food is very based upon using the right ingredients. So today we have the granola, and this is what we're gonna be including in it. This is gonna be my absolute favorite brand of all times, 1 Degree Organic Foods. It's incredible. It is sprouted rolled oats. You can get it at Whole Foods. It's fantastic, rolled and sprouted. So it's sprouted. The reason why it's sprouted is that sprouting unlocks the nutrients for our body to be able to absorb more from the grains. Think of it like a seed. If the seed is in nature and you want to protect that seed because it has all of the nutrients to grow a tree or whatever it is, a new plant, you're not going to want it to be able to be just easily accessed, right? So what happens is they're protected. So some things like walnuts, pecans, things like that, when you do use those things and you eat them typically without sprouting them, they might taste a little chalky, they might taste a little different, but once you put them in water, you soak them, you allow the seeds to think that it's in water, it's going to start to grow something. It's like we're tricking it. It's going to start to release the anti-nutrient properties that it has, which is the chalkiness, the bitterness, releases the nutrients because it's like, oh, we're gonna start growing a new plant. And then you're like, psych, we're gonna dry it out and then we're gonna eat it. That's how we get around that. That's what the sprouting does. Not only that, we need more. We need honey or maple syrup. So I have organic raw honey, very important organic honey, because bees unfortunately are targeted by pesticides with the flowers. So we wanna stick to the raw organic honey. We also have cinnamon, we have vanilla. And then obviously, if you guys know anything about cooking and baking, we need the sea salt to balance out the sweet and the saltiness. Fantastic. We're gonna have the WHO 70% dark chocolate, paleo, vegan, organic chocolate chips. This brand is incredible. One of the most conscious chocolate brands I've seen to date. Big fan. 3 simple ingredients, mind blowing. Then next, 2 things that I really like are gonna be goji berries and white mulberries. These are gonna be added in as well as the chocolate afterwards. And then we're gonna go after 2 of my favorite seeds / nuts, which are gonna be pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds that we're gonna add in here. You could also add in flax seeds, or you could even add in a little bit of chia seeds if you wanted to take this to the next level. But these 2 specific seeds are fantastic for the body. We have pumpkin seeds that really help out with the thyroid. Really big fan of these particular seeds. You can sprout those if you want. And then we're gonna need a baking pan or baking sheet. If you care, it's gonna be the brand that we use the parchment paper from. We're gonna need a bowl. We're gonna be needing measuring spoons. And then we're gonna be needing some type of spoon as well. So let's jump right into this recipe. So first and foremost, we are gonna be needing 4 cups of rolled oats. So I have 2 bags here, one opened and one not opened. 4 cups is a decent amount. So we're just gonna go ahead and dump in 4 cups. 1, I'm a little bit loose with my measurements, as you guys do know. 2, man, if we have exactly, no, we have 3, about 3 cups right here from this bag. So we are gonna have to open up a new bag, which I am happy to do so. All right, and we're gonna finish off a little bit of this one, and then we're gonna go on to the last one right there. Okay, so 4 total cups, a little bit over for our oats right there. But wait, you guys need to turn on the oven to 350 degrees right now before you continue, so the oven is preheated for when we are done here. And then we're gonna add in our nuts and our seeds. So it says that you can add up to 1.5 cups of these. So we're just gonna stick with about 1 cup of these. These nuts, in particular the pumpkin seeds, can be a little bit overpowering. These are gonna be bulk organic. It's always best to buy bulk if you can. You know, you're getting relatively fresh stuff. You don't know how long that stuff has been in the bags. Obviously, maybe you don't know how long it's been there either, but we're gonna go ahead and grab these pumpkin seeds. I'm gonna grab a handful, drop it in there, and then drop it in here. Go ahead and shake that up. We can mix it here in a second. And then you can use your measuring spoons. It's asking for a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So like I talk about, I actually really like cinnamon. It's a blood balancing compound. It's fantastic for the body. So I go with a little bit more than cinnamon every single time that they ask for cinnamon. I'm always adding in more cinnamon. I'm a big fan of cinnamon. So now we're gonna stir this up and move on to the next step. Guys, if you can level up your consciousness, you guys can take your awareness, your beings, and what's capable for you to the next level, including your longevity, your health, your vitality. That's why I'm so into cooking organic and getting the best quality ingredients that we could possibly have for for us. And now we're getting into the next step here. So we need to put in our liquid ingredients, which is going to include our coconut oil. So we need a half cup of coconut oil that is going to be melted. I suggest doing this first before you do any of the sweeteners, because if you're using either of them, you can put them in this particular cup that you put the coconut oil in, and it's lubricated to keep you away from having your honey sticking inside of your measuring cup. And this is asking for a half cup of honey or maple syrup. I think that's a little bit extreme, to be quite honest with you guys. So I'm probably gonna go with maybe a third, not quite a half though, for sure. And then you can always add in a little honey when it's done. Gosh, that's quite a bit of sweetener. I try to keep mine a little bit on the less sweet end, just because the less sweet, the better. Obviously, we do want some sweet for the taste, but we don't want it to be overpowering, and we don't want it to be really overbearing our bodies with sweeteners. And then we're gonna need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract here, and then we are gonna stir. So now the granola is really gonna start being goopy. It's gonna start getting ready to get baked. Baking is gonna be super important here for this granola. I am excited. So you wanna make sure it's evenly coated. You don't want any sweetness too much in one direction. Make sure everything is gone. And now would be a good time to try the granola to see how you prefer the sweetness. If you do want a little bit more sweetener, you can always add a little bit more. If you want a little bit of a granular sweetener, you could use coconut sugar. That does work for us. So now would be the time to try this. And that's plenty sweet for me, for sure. I think I could go for a little bit more of the nuts here. That's what I'm preferring right now, so it's definitely sweet. So I'm gonna add in a little bit more of those sunflower seeds. So it seems like about a cup of combined nuts. If you are using pecans or walnuts, really just chop those up with a knife, throw them in here. You know, you can really make this granola as super powered as possible. All right, and we are ready to go. Okay, the one thing I did forget is to add in salt here, which they are calling for a teaspoon of fine ground salt. So I am obviously an eye here. I know about what a teaspoon of salt is from my shaker. If you guys don't know, just grind your salt, or if you have ground salt. You know, I really like to grind my own herbs when it comes to salt, not an herb, but pepper as well. There's a lot to do with. The close to as nature intended as you can get the product, the better, because it's gonna hold everything. Once you then do bust open the compound, whether it be salt or whether it be pepper, what happens then is then you unlock whatever is stored. Why did nature store it like that? We don't particularly always know. We can have ganders and guess, and we can research things, but it's been stored like that for a reason. And when you do buy it ground, it's losing anti-inflammatory properties, kind of like oxidation of oil. You know, you're not gonna buy heated up oil. You're gonna buy it at a cold state or a solid state, and then if you need to heat it up, you do that. Okay, that's really good. So now we're gonna be using a glass baking dish. It does ask for parchment paper and on a baking cooking sheet, but I don't have a cooking sheet. I have not bought a cooking sheet yet. I had one for a while and I let it go, and I still don't have one. So I have my biggest glass baking dish. We're gonna even this out, and we're gonna see how it comes out together. And if it doesn't come out good, it's still gonna taste good, for sure. Okay, so there's all the granola in here. And if you did want to add a little bit of chocolate, you could add in cacao powder when you did mix in with all of the dry ingredients. The other thing that you could do is you could put a little bit of the chocolate chips in here now, or right when you take it out, and then you could maneuver them throughout, and it would kind of give a little bit of the chocolate before we let it cool, because you do not want to put these berries in beforehand, trust me, because then you're gonna be cooking the berries and it's gonna be a whole different flavor. You want the raw mulberries and the goji berries and the chocolate chunks to be full composition as you are eating it. Trust me, it's much better like that. So if you do want the little bit of chocolate mixed in, I would say once you take it out of the oven, then you add in the chocolate chips. But now 350 degrees, 21 to 24 minutes. I'll be right back with you guys. And we have our granola right here. Okay, so according to Kate from the recipe, we need to let this cool for 45 minutes before we're gonna add anything into it. So I'm going to sit here, I'm gonna let it cool, I'm gonna meditate, and I will be back with you guys in a moment. So it has virtually cooled. It's not quite 40 minutes. I might melt the chocolate a little bit, but I can't help myself because my goodness gracious, this looks amazing. So if we go ahead and pull it out, look at it, it's got semi chunks. One of the things that Kate did say is she said if you want it a little bit chunkier, you're gonna have to pull it out middle of the way and stir it up. So I did not quite do that, but look, it's already relatively chunky as far as granola goes. So now what we're gonna do is add whatever you feel like. This is gonna be basically how you go after it, whatever it looks like. I'm gonna put the ingredients in the pinned comments below so you guys can do so. I'm gonna go for a handful of the goji berries, and then I'm also gonna go for a handful of the mulberries, white mulberries. I did actually get this from the local restaurant Vibe. They make their own, and the mulberries are delicious in their granola. So that's where I got it. So I'm gonna go for a second handful of each because I can see that it's not quite enough, and they are gonna be dried fruit, so you are gonna wanna break it up as you do put them in so they're not gonna be clumped up. All right, and then we are gonna go ahead and stir this up. Might need even more of this dried fruit. This is actually quite a bit of granola, and the less stirring the better if you do want it to be more clumpy, but if you don't, then obviously you can stir it up and it can be granola like that. And it actually came out perfect on the pan. It didn't really stick too much, maybe a little bit on the edges, a little bit more browned on the edges. Like I said, if you guys did see the cooking video, if you want to see that up there for the pizza, you cannot cook pizza in a glass tray. It will absolutely burn and it will absolutely stick. Okay, so there's that. The last thing we have to do is my favorite part, the chocolate chips. These are incredibly great ingredients, one of the most impressive products out there for cacao chips. And I am a big fan of cacao and chocolate, so I am going to generously distribute this throughout my granola. And that is going to be granola, homemade. I'm telling you, if you bought this much granola in the store, yes, some of these ingredients might be a little pricey. Maybe what, $14, $14, might be what, $7 or $8. The granola might be 10. So in a grand total, you might spend 50, but I'm telling you, if you bought this much granola packaged for sale, would be so much more. And then you can't control the ingredients. You may not have the raw organic honey. You may not have the organic mulberries, the organic goji berries, and this super conscious dark chocolate. So this is how you make your own. And it is still a little bit warm, so it is gonna melt this chocolate just a tad. I do actually prefer it like that, where it kind of gets the chocolate just a little bit around the granola, and then you guys can go after that. So we have to try it. The taste test, the grand finale. Whoa, okay. I will pay a lot of money to buy this granola. I can assure you, you're gonna love this. So that's gonna do it. Homemade granola right to your doorstep from your kitchen and your oven. And you know, we're gonna come back. More great things coming at you guys. We have restaurant vlogs. We have more recipes. It's coming into the holiday season, which is gonna be a fun time. So thank you guys for tuning in and cooking with us, where we are gonna keep changing the world one bite at a time.